welcome back to the fifth and final day of the Premiere Challenge. Challengers, thank you for sticking with me this whole time. We are doing a video edit of a TikTok or Instagram reel, maybe a short, and we're doing how to make a pie with Rice Krispies, peanut butter, and ice cream, some chocolate drizzle. Favorite. My name is Ryan Selvy. I'm your host. I am a motion designer and video editor by trade, and help you get in and out of Premiere. Now, if you've never done Premiere before, don't sweat it. Just check out the 4 earlier videos. It's about an hour and a half total, and this will be about 20 minutes or so. It'll get you up and running to do very basic edits that you can bring your workflow, whether that's offering for a client or just knowledge. I'm going to go ahead and hop right on into Premiere. This is the video that we were working on since we last saw each other. I have done some edits that I'm going to walk through kind of what we did. It's all knowledge that we already understand and we already have figured out, as well as recording a voiceover, which I'm going to walk through today, just to put the final touches on this piece of content. Of course, if you want to follow along and you want to join the Daily Creative Challenge, go ahead and check out the behance.net/challenge/premiere. On here, you can see the challenge community chat linked there. It brings you to a Discord where you can share your videos and your assets, and we can all talk about it. And then there's also an area where you can download the assets that you want and work alongside with me, and then also have a link to the video. So this is a very easy place to go. It'll have the dates for you, so you know you're in the right place. You're moving along. We've done setting up your products with proxies and organization. We've done timeline basics, done how to color in Premiere Pro, and creating graphics from scratch yesterday. And then today we're going to be doing exporting with chapters and captions and just putting the final touches on everything that you need that it's going to be. So as I said yesterday, we were actually in graphics here, and with the graphics tool, we were able to add some ingredients that we have popping through the screen, which is exciting. I went ahead and I took the same application that we used yesterday. I copied and pasted it and just updated the text accordingly. You can see that now we have all of the ingredients laid out on the screen, and you can also see that when we zoom in, there is an area right here that is the beginning of the animation, and an area right here that is the end of the animation. And if we go ahead and we drag these around, animation duration will stay the same, so it was really easy to scale. You can add whatever you want. You can add some intros and outros and really make it your own. Add some extra information if you want. I saw some people uploading some videos to the Discord. It was really excited to see the cuts that you guys made and the edits that you are creating in Premiere. So first thing I want to touch on today before we get into video recording is just maybe one more thing, kind of when you're working on it, and whether you're working over a long term and you want to come back to a project, if you are working with somebody else and you want to give them notes, if you want to have organization, or even if you're uploading to YouTube and you want to create chapters. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to hop on over into the window markers section, and you can see it's already open down here for me. Now, you don't have to have this open in order to manage and adjust your markers, but it is helpful because it will give you a linear understanding as to where they are, and it also gives you some extra click and point adjustments that you make straight on the timeline. So there's a few reasons why you'd want to use markers. If you were making points in your timeline easily accessible by snapping, if you want to leave notes for yourself, or if you just want to bookmark things to come back to. So what I'm going to do today is we're going to add the area for the ingredients as a chapter. So I'm going to go in here, and you can either click this, or you can just click the letter M, and this will put a little green marker right there. You also see that it's reflected down here in the bottom left. I'm in the way, so I'm going to move myself out of the way. And you can see that now it has an in and an out, which is the same time, which means that it's just a singular point on the frame. And the reason why that might be helpful is like maybe you just have the beginning or the end of something, but I want to have it apply to the entire ingredient. So what you can do is there's a few different ways to do this, but you can double click and it'll bring up a marker dialog menu, and you can name it. And I'm going to say ingredients. And you put comments if you'd like. You can change the marker color. You can decide if it's a chapter marker or if it's a segmentation marker or a web link, a flash cue point. And then it kind of changes how you're going to interact with the marker. So you'll see that we still have the time and the duration. I want it to actually extend beyond just a point in time. So we're going to increase this by clicking and dragging and press OK. And you'll see that while I do that now, there's an area across the top here that is now saying ingredients. And that's because we named it ingredients. You can go in here and you're able to drag it. So I'm just going to tag this entire area as ingredients. And you'll be able to then navigate to it automatically by jumping around, clicking. You'll see that when I was over here, there was nothing in the markers section because markers can be applied to both the full timeline and footage. The cool thing about adding it to footage is that it's actually added to the footage in the source monitor. So if we're going into here and we're going into editing as we are, and we double click into the source monitor, you can see that it'll pop up and we can actually add the marker directly to the source. So, oh, this is not popping up because this is my graphic. So let's add it to this source. So double click it, it's gonna pull up the source. You can see that our ins and outs are like basically the flip right here. And if we go in and we press M as we did before, you can see that it adds a marker to that area. Now, there are some shortcuts. You guys know that I love my shortcuts. And alongside M with adding and modifying it, you can also go ahead and hold down Alt. And when you hold down Alt, that's going to let you actually just click and drag it. And so you don't have to do the editing within the dialog menu. You can also go to your markers menu as we were earlier, and you can change the ins and outs right here, which is cool. And you can see that that was reflecting the timeline because I wasn't clicked into the source. But now that I'm clicked into the source, you can that it then goes in and out, which is really great. And you can get comments and titles for yourself or for other people that you want to come back to something and you want to work on it or address it. So you can also see that if I go and I drag this to the side, the marker disappears, but it's still available in the source monitor. So if I go back to my project bin and we're looking through my footage, and I open up the footage, it will still apply there. If I click and drag image 0980, because I filmed it on my iPhone, you will see that it will also populate with the marker in the corresponding area right here. So I'm going to press Control Z to get rid of that, and then we will. So the cool thing about markers outside of just organization, and also, by the way, that's a good point. If you want to delete a marker, you can either double click and go into delete, right click it directly and do clear selected marker, or you can also alternatively click right here and then you can do clear. If you're like selected into the full timeline, you can just do clear markers and it'll get rid of absolutely everything for you. And that's just an easy way to clean up all your notes after you're done, and just helps you to get and checked out. So right now we have just the ingredients chapter, but there are obviously more to the instructions that we have. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press Shift M on my keyboard, and when I do that, it's going to actually move me over to the end of the timeline. I was selected on the one that it was. So Shift M, and since we have one, it's just going to stay there. But what you can do is if you add another one and press M, you're going to be able to go in, Alt, drag, and we can give this a new chapter instruction. So we're going to go over here. We're going to put them side by side just because why not? And this is the area of the prep. I mean, I believe that most of it is pretty straightforward, but I guess we could say that this is mix. Should I say adhesive? By the way, guys, if you're watching this as a replay, it's great to see you guys. This is actually initially a live stream, so hello to everybody that's in the chat. Great to have you guys here. Thank you for taking the time. So I'm just going to name this, and I'm going to say syrup maker. Who knows? And we're going to change that as a chapter marker as well. It's going to be red because it's chapters. And then we're going to go over all together maybe, and press M again. We're going to hold down Alt, out, scrub through our footage, wood, say right about here is putting it together. Double click. Putting it together. A chapter marker, please. That up. Then freezing. Oh, we am, and it brought us back to where we were because we're within sections. So outside of our chapter. We'll call this the here. Click this. The cold chapter marker. That. Finally, at the very end, reveal. Now, you'll see what I did here for the reveal is I actually went ahead and I took this footage and I cut it in half. So I took the footage as it was. It was like here, and I went ahead and I clicked this. All right, I gotta turn up my audio just a little bit and let me know if you guys can still hear me. How are we doing? Blah, 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 blah. And so we're gonna go through, and I'm gonna cut this right here. And as we cut it, I'm gonna just go ahead and I took it and I brought it to the beginning of the chapter. And the reason I did this is because if you guys use Instagram, TikTok, you'll notice that everything like is a loop, and you can keep people for more than once, especially if it's a recipe. Like, they're not gonna write everything down immediately, so you're gonna need to go and make it rewatchable. And so what I did in this case is I took the beginning of it and I switched it just so that now it's at the beginning. Now, I'm also taking that into account when we go into voice recording, which is what we did next. So I think I'm pretty comfortable with all of the chapters that I have. In a second, we're gonna look at how you can export those and upload them to YouTube for your convenience, so then you can take them and you can put them in your description so people can click through it. And then also, if you want it to natively mix into YouTube's functionality of their UI, where it actually splits up the timeline, there's also an area within Premiere under export, which we'll be touching on in a second, that lets you actually preload those. And then when you preload them, when you upload the video through Premiere, everything is good and dandy, and you already have your chapters selected and people can navigate willy-nilly. So I went ahead and I was a little camera shy, so I decided to go and film the voice recording ahead of time. I didn't really feel like I could probably do it accurately for you guys. So if you check out the source files that I have over on the Premiere selection and assets class, you're going to be able to get the actual footage or audio recording of me saying what's going on. Basically, I took a few takes of it. I wrote it down in a Google Doc and wrote it because while you can preview it while you do it, I wanted to keep it fast. And so you can just go and you can see that all these audios are cut up in the same way that you would cut up footage. And you can still use a lot of those keyboard shortcuts that we touched on earlier in the week, like Control K, and just use it for navigating footage and bringing it around. So I'd really like to see how you guys cut up my voice too, because you have access to all the weird ones I have. You have some outtakes as well when I just go peanut butter, blah, 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 blah. So please don't embarrass me too much, but you have access to those if you want to. But I'm assuming you're probably going to want to record your own stuff and not just use my voice for absolutely everything. So the way that you go about this is you'll see down here you have all your videos and you have all your audio. And the best way for me, because I have a mic that goes in through a Focusrite and then comes out, sometimes it comes out only on the left speaker. So I want to actually go in and right from the beginning, right click and click add a track. And under the track, you can see you can add several if you want to, but you can also go and choose the placement above or below where it is. Same thing with video and audio. But what you're going to want to do is, rather than standard, you want to go to mono, because mono is going to make it come out of both speakers no matter what. You can keep this stereo because of the submix tracks. You don't really have to worry about that. But we're going to say that we're going to say it's going to come after 3, so that it's going to be 4. And then you'll see that that is reflected down here in our timeline. We even have a little thing down here where it's telling us that we did mono. If you don't see the voiceover record, do not panic. You don't have a throttled version of Premiere. You just need to go up and from here you can customize. by clicking this, and it will open this little button editor. And this is really cool because you can actually really customize what you have in your Premiere and your workflow. So you can see that there's the things that are already there, like your keyframes, but there's also this voiceover record. So you can go and you can drag it down into this area. That way you can easily record it at any given moment. You're going to want to go into your preferences under Edit Preferences Audio Hardware, which is right here. It'll pop up, and you can see that I have my analog Focusrite USB audio here, and also my out. Also, if you go to your audio, you can go in here and you can mute input during timeline recording, because otherwise, while you do that, you're going to hear yourself back. And if you've ever tried to record yourself while you can hear yourself, you end up kind of talking like this. Alternatively, you can just go and mute your speakers, but I always am going to mute my speakers, so I have this turned on. By default, it is turned off, but it's just a really easy fix that you can go and you can update. So we're still in editing mode because I was showing you guys markers, but Premiere also has this really cool area of audio. And if you haven't seen the other videos that we had leading up to this video, just in case you're wondering where this is because you haven't updated Premiere, you can just go up to this area. And did you see that autosave? Did you see that autosave? Make sure your autosave is on, because you don't want to lose your content, and that's all it takes. It just is a little blip. It's saved. Now I know that everything that we've worked on in the last 15 minutes, I'm good to go. Just a reminder, save your work, auto save your work, make it happen. Also, if you go down here, you can see that you have everything showcased, but you can go into your show workplace label and show workplace tabs. I enjoy tabs just because it's there. But if you're a little worried about, where you are and you just need someone to ground you, you can do the little label, and so you can always look up and you're like, oh, I'm in the audio section, maybe I should be somewhere else, but we want to be here. So you'll see right up here you have your audio track mixer, where you have your decibels. I recorded mine a little bit quiet because I had people outside and I didn't want to have their noise come through, so I would record a little bit silent, and then I amped it up. If you can, you're going to want to actually go in and record at the best possible volume level. In this case, I just have it recorded because I live in New York City. So just take note of that and you should be good. So what I'm going to do though is you go, and so we wanted to record directly onto A3. I'm pressing M because I want to mute my track because I don't want to do anything with it. But I'm going to go over here. I'm going to hit the R button, which says that when I record, I want it to record to that track. So I'm going to right click also on here, and we're going to go to voiceover record settings as well. And you can see that it's picking up my voice. I'm clipping a little bit, probably because I just maxed it out because I want it to be nice and loud on stream. But you would go here and you would adjust it. By default, pre-roll and post-roll is going to be there. Pre-roll gives you a nice little countdown so that you're not just like hitting record and going. It'll give you like a 3, 2, 1. You can add up to whatever you want, and you can make it so it's whatever your thing. You can also go ahead, rename the audio if you want to change this to like fake voiceover, because we're not going to use this voiceover, and go ahead and close it. And you'll see that when I want to go record, all I have to do is come down here and click, and you'll see that it'll pop up here and it'll wait for a little bit. Now it says recording. As I'm talking, it is transcribing it. It's not showing it here, but as soon as we pause, you'll be able to see that the waveforms are still there, and that then we can edit the footage accordingly. So just for the sake of time, and for example, I'm going to go ahead and press the space bar to stop. You can see you can also press this record button. You're not going to necessarily get the countdown in the same way, but now you can see that it's here. And like I said before, we can go in, we can do some cuts, we can use all our shortcuts, we can have a good time, move it around. You can go and go into effect controls and change things and add weird isolation if you want. Obviously, if you have Creative Cloud, you're going to want to hop into Audition, because there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do in Audition, and that is a whole nother bag of worms, but phenomenal nonetheless. And I know a little bit, but I also rely on audio professionals to take care of my audio. Now, I do want to go real quick again off to the export area. You can see that up here we have all of our learning, assembly, editing, colors, what have you, but they really have made it easy with this update to have import, edit, and export. So I'm going to go to export, and it's going to bring us to this new window, which is very streamlined. It's going to ask me where I want my location. I set up my composition in a way that I wanted it to be, the canvas that it was with the bitrate that I have. And so you can go in here and you can go into presets. But you can also see down here that we have the YouTube section, and you're like, wait a second, Ryan, I thought you were going to teach me how to do chapters. Don't worry, I didn't forget about you. We're going to go to edit export or file export. Where are you? File export, and we're gonna go to markers. And you can see that you have a selection of a file type, a destination. I'm going to put it on my desktop, but you shouldn't do that. And I'm going to name it Pi Tutorial Titles. And what Premiere is going to do for us, which is really nice, thank you for doing that. Open folder, look at my messy desktop. And go here. We're going to delete the top of this because we don't want all that information. And then you'll see that it's going to take my sequence and it's going to export my sequence for everything as well. And we don't want that. So I'm going to go ahead and here, I'm personally going to get rid of these. If you're working on a Mac, there's actually some really nice, wait, I accidentally delete things. Oopsies. So we're going to actually cancel this and we're not going to save. No, thank you. And you'll see that our description for putting it together is right there. So you might want to actually go in and rather than doing titles, you want to put it in the description. So I'm going to actually fix that really quick. And we're going to go in. Boop. Up. Boop. Shoot. You have to make the noises. It's really important. If you don't make the noises, the program won't know what to do. So you see putting together is there. And then the cold stuff. Go right here. So let's try this. Round 2, edit, file, export, markers. So you can go in here, TXT. We're going to say Pi Tutorial for real. Press OK. You could also do for real, like REEL. But now you can see all of our descriptions are here. So we're going to fix this by going ahead. We're going to delete all the same stuff again. The way that it exports it, though, is it's going to give you hours, minutes, seconds, frames, and YouTube does not recognize the frames. So we're just going to go ahead and delete all of these guys. And then we're going to replace anything that's right here with a space bar, just because one little section. Otherwise, it's 3 tabs. You can also go into Control, Find, and Replace, Find and Replace, and do 3 tabs, which is really good. And that'll also speed up your workflow. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to copy the content that we have, and I'm going to put it in a YouTube description that then lets them click through. But I also want to export it and put it into the actual chapter areas. So when we go to export, you're going to go to YouTube, turn it on. And as you scroll down, you can actually go and you can turn on captions, effects. You can do your metadata, and you're going to be able to do a bunch of different controls that are able to publish and make it happen. You can do your custom thumbnail. You can put it in a playlist, a title. You can choose which channel you want to do if you have it linked. And what this is going to automatically just go and export for what you need. I have misplaced my area or my titles. Do as I say, don't do as I do. But you can go and you can just actually match the source and bring it in. You have to sign to upload to YouTube. You have your description here as well, where you can just pop it in, and that will help you also click through what you need. You can also go and collect your entire source. In this case, we want to have beginning to the end. And the same thing with the audio, as I was saying with making it loop. You're going to go through and you're going to cut the audio. Right as I was saying. So I recorded it in the end saying, and that's how you make a really delicious pie with ice cream and Rice Krispies. And so I have this end, what it happens to say, and that's how, and then at the very beginning, I say how to make a Rice Krispie pie with delicious and peanut butter. There you go, and then you have it. You also go through, you could add sound effects, you can add music, but as copyright goes, I didn't want to distribute music. But then also, when you're uploading to TikTok, sometimes it's really good for the algorithms to just include that when you're uploading the actual video, because then you can use their sounds, and it helps for the distribution of it. So you can obviously bring it as far as you want, or you can bring it as minimal as you want and edit it somewhere else. But for me, I like to edit all my visuals and all of my construction straight into Premiere, and then I can kind of do any bells and whistles that I want to work with metadata to things like TikTok through just that app. But Premiere is more than capable of doing it. I just definitely want to stress that. But yeah, so guys, it's been really a great pleasure having this challenge with you. You can see that in the assets files. We also have the full video with me talking. Feel free to use it, do whatever you want with it. I also love to see if you guys go ahead and you make the pie yourself. It's one of my favorite pies. I always have it for summer. And I hope that if you like ice cream, you will like this pie, and I will not let you down. Once again, thank you for watching. My name is Ryan Selvy. You can find me on Behance at behance.net/Ryan Selvy and all around the rest of the internet. But it's been a pleasure, and I hope to see you guys again soon on a challenge. Good luck with video editing, and I'll see you over at the Discord. Thanks so much. Bye.